There we go. Come on. All right. First and foremost, I'm gonna say, call halal Yahweh, Vashem Yahweh Shai. That's all praise to the Most High God in the name of His only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, man. And this is Big Yada, Shatar Officer SICARRI Dallas, the best sect, Right. So tonight I want to go into basically scriptures about getting through it while you're going through it, because no matter who you are in this truth, who you are being an Israelite, wherever you are, wherever you're located, you're going to be going through something. And our people have a bad tendency of, especially people in the truth, have a bad tendency of just when things go wrong in their life, they just immediately forget the scriptures. They just immediately forget the application of scriptures. And we can talk about it all day, but where's your faith at? Where's your integrity in the scriptures when things start coming upon you? Like, as far as like you getting pressed on certain things, like when stuff goes wrong as far as your job, your family, money, things just happening, just random things that happen to you, the tribulation that happens to all of us as Israelites. And we have to realize that, like, we actually have a living God who gave us commandments, that gave us prophets, and also gave us examples. Something that don't get said much around the Hebrew Israelite community. Gave us examples of people who were going through things and who went through things, and people who have experience to give you knowledge about how you should operate in this present world. And let me get this precept real quick. Romans 15, right? Because I like to bring this out. That's a Ron. Romans 15. 15:4. I like this scripture because, I'll read it and I'll explain it, right? This is Romans 15, verse 4. It says, for whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. Now, this is whatsoever things were written aforetime, like we have the Bible, we have the scriptures, we have the law, the prophets, we have the examples, we have the history, we have what Yahweh Shai said, we got the revelation, the prophecies, we have all of that. Now, having all that inside of those things gives us examples of how we should live, and examples of people going through some of the same or similar events that we go through in our lives, as far as loss, as far as relationship issues, as far as issues with your family. We see that in the scriptures, and we need to. And matter of fact, I'm gonna keep on going. It says, things were written aforetime were written for our learning, right? So we learn from it. We take these examples and apply it into our life, so we don't mess up and make haste in our life and not know what to do, like how it says in SICARRI chapter 2. Matter of fact, let me get that real quick. And then we're gonna come right back, because I don't want to just say that and not explain it. Let me see. SICARRI 2. I just want 2. I don't want 18. 2. Wow. You gotta be that specific. 2. Right here, right? So we're gonna come back to this as well. SICARRI chapter 2, verse 1 through 2. It says, my son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation, or the issues that we're going to have to deal with in our daily lives and all the things that happen to us, and just being Israelites, and as far as being under the curses, and as far as just honestly just being a person under bondage in America, in Babylon the Great. We have all these temptations, and it only gets worse coming into the truth, because now you're aware of the things. You're aware. You got the blindness taken off of you. You're aware of all the things that you have to now avoid, that you have to now try to keep away from your life, so you don't fall back into your old man and fall back into the old ways that America tries to bring us up on and try to pull us back into, right? And let me keep going. It says, set thy heart aright and constantly endure. Constantly endure. We have to constantly endure in this truth. There's a lot of things we have to endure. We're going to lose family members. I know that happened to me. You're going to lose family members. You're going to lose friends. You're going to lose people who is close to you because of the scriptures, because of what you believe in. Even if it doesn't even harm them, they just see what you're doing is right, and they get upset about it, and they want to shun you or speak ill upon your name. That happens. You have to endure through that. But I'm going to keep going. It says, and make not haste in time of trouble. Making haste in a time of trouble is when things happen to you, you don't know what to do. Now all the scriptures you read about having faith, all the scriptures that gave you an examples of how you should live and how you should handle certain situations, now you don't know it no more. It don't exist no more. Now it's just you're just operating solely off of fear. That's what it means, make not haste, because not knowing what to do. As a matter of fact, I think it has that in other translations where it's wrong about that. Let me see. I don't know if it's the CEB. It might be the CEB. I like to shout out to the CEB as well. See, set your heart aright. Set your heart straight. Be steadfast. Don't act hastily in a time of distress. It's like it, right? A time of distress when things are happening to you. You're supposed to be you're supposed to be steadfast and sturdy into this truth. And that's only going to come by reading the scriptures and internalizing the scriptures and holding on and cleaving unto them when you go through these issues. Because we're all going to go through issues. Everybody. Nobody just scared. Nobody just comes into being realizing they're Israelite and keeping law, statute, commandments, and nothing happens. Like that's something that does not exist. You don't see that happen to nobody. Somebody, and matter of fact, if that's happening to you, the Lord might not be dealing with you as a son, because the Lord, like it says in Hebrews, He chastens those who He loves. That's how He treats them as sons. When he put you through this adversity, when He put you through these lower states, and we put you through all these things, and during that time, if you read the scriptures, commit them to memory, and apply them when you go through this, you'll be well off. And that's what this is going into. Because this class ain't just about like, oh, it's just going to be better at the end of the tunnel. This class is specifically about learning how to apply the scriptures when you go through things. Because this is the only hope that we have. Going back to the verse I read before, Romans chapter 15, verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience, right? Patience, being able to deal with something, being long-suffering, dealing with the situation that you have, that are brought upon you, and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. Right? These scriptures are supposed to give us comfort and hope because number one, first and foremost, we have a living God who at the end of the day is going to save us, but also He gave us an example and a blueprint to get out of the situations, and really on a micro level to save us out of the situations that we're in on a smaller scale. These scriptures show you how to deal with your wife. The scriptures show you how to deal with your people. The scriptures show you how to deal when you have to deal with X, Y, and Z. And they're written for our learning to apply them. That's why it says wisdom and knowledge will be a stability. Matter of fact, let's get that. Isaiah. It's lacking for the children in the background. I got kids, man. Let's see. Isaiah 33 is 33. 6. Yeah, Isaiah 33 and 6. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and right, strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is His treasure. Right now, going back to the beginning, the wisdom and knowledge. Where do we get our wisdom and knowledge? From the law, statutes, and commandments, from what the prophets taught us, from what Yahweh Shai taught us, the prophecies thereof. Because if we already know the end of the story, we need to put ourselves in a position so we benefit at the end of the story. So we benefit to what's going to happen their judgment day. Because if we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, which is outlining the blueprint that we have, we'll benefit at the end of the day. We'll be blessed in our latter end, like it says in certain scriptures. But if we don't do that, and we don't cleave unto the wisdom, which is the word, and the law, statutes, and commandments, and the prophets and Yahweh Shai, if we don't cleave unto that, we're not going to benefit. We're going to be destroyed. We're going to act in haste. We're going to act in haste like the people who don't even have a living God and are people who are in a Gentile mind state. What does that say? Mina Israel. It's hard. What is this? I gotta make that. Dude. It's hold up real fast because I want to deal with this. But Salak, right? It says, Mina Israel said, it's hard when you got anger issues. Now, I have that same problem, and I know y'all see that through the videos that I've that I've been in. I got a lot of anger issues and something, and that's something I got to work on. And we have to realize that we are honestly a work in progress. All of Israel is a work in progress, man. Because we just like I said this last week when I had camp. Like a lot of us come into this truth after being 20 something years old, 30 something years old, 40 something, 50 something years old. And that's the same amount of worldliness we have inside of our bodies, bro. All that. It's even worse for people who are a little bit old. Like I know, like what's that? Shatar Mabatak. I forgot how old he is, but he's an elder, man. He lived his whole life and came to this truth late in his life, and he has to work out all those decades of the world out of him. And all of us have to do that. And we all are work in progress, but we have to try. Just because we have anger issues, it doesn't give us an excuse to not try and give effort into the Lord, because that's what he likes, a broken and contrite spirit. But let me get this about the anger issues real quick. Let's see. This is Ephesians. I'm reading out my sword. This is Ephesians 4:26. Be ye angry and sin not. Let not the sun go down upon thy wrath. Now, we're going to get angry. We're going to get in our emotions in certain instances, and we have to try our best to control that. But while you're angry and while you're in your emotions, that doesn't give you the right to sin. It doesn't give you the right to go off. We have to do our best to control that and break that, just like how Deacon says, break the nigga up off a nigga, man. We got to break that up off of us. And that comes with time. What is that? James, that's a good one too. James 1:19. Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. And that definitely comes with time, man. That especially dealing with the type of place we're in as far as Babylon the Great, dealing with our people, dealing with our women, dealing with our family. It's hard. But we have to do our best to control that and operate into the fruits of the spirit. And that's incredibly difficult. Now I digress. Let me go back to what I was talking about real fast. About Isaiah 33, right? It said, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure, right? Now, the wisdom and knowledge comes from the Bible. Let's just say it point blank. From the knowledge we get from the prophets and the knowledge we get from the law, statutes, and commandments, Yahweh Shai included. And it's the strength of our salvation. It's the thing that's going to bring us ultimately to salvation. Because clinging on this and holding fast. Let me get this real fast, right? Now I wish I had to read it. Leviticus 26. Not Leviticus, that's Leviticus. Revelation 2 and 26. Right. Leviticus 2 and 25. Oh, I keep saying Leviticus. Revelation, Slakia. Revelation 2 and 25. But that which ye have already, hold fast till I come. And he that overcometh, overcoming the world in that worldly mind state, and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations. These works and overcoming comes from keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, having the faith of God in Yahweh Shai. Have faith in Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, rather. And that's things we get through the wisdom and knowledge of the scriptures. And if we hold fast to that and hold fast to the examples that's been left unto us, we'll be able to survive through these hard times. Because that's the ultimate thing that's going to give us power and strength to be bold through these times of tribulation. Because they are definitely coming, especially now, especially the way the government got stuff set up coming, the way Biden's talking. These times of tribulation are really about to be coming to Jacob, and we have to be stuck on these scriptures and hold it fast at that which is good, which is those commandments that Yahweh Shai left us, with and the law that came through Moses, and really ultimately came through the Most High. Going back to Revelation 14 and 12, let me get that real fast, because I don't like to paraphrase, because I'm bad at it. Revelations 14 and 12. Here's the patience of the saints. Here Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Yahweh Shai, right? That's something we gotta be holding fast onto. Holding fast unto these commandments and holding fast unto the faith of Yahweh Shai, because this is the power unto our salvation. Because even unto the context of this, these saints that are being saved here, I mean, the people being saved here are the saints who are keeping the commandments of God and the faith of Yahweh Shai. This is a salvation passage. And if we hold on to this, we'll be part of that salvation, and we can be numbered upon this number. But first, we have to hold fast to that which is good through these times of tribulation. Through these times, your family is talking bad about you because you keep keeping the law statutes. Since you actually following the Lord God, which they say they believe in, you got to suffer through that. You got to suffer through the stuff that goes on with your job. You got to suffer through the things that goes on in your house. You got to suffer through all the things that's going to happen, because ultimately, if we hold fast into that which is good, which is the law, statutes, commandments, and the works of Yahweh Shai, that's ultimate salvation. That's the strength of our salvation. Now, let me go back into this. I'm going to go back to Romans 15, verse 4 again. It's for whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. And what's that hope? What's the thing patiently waiting for? The salvation, and also to put the heathen in slavery, to put the heathen to get back with the Slakia, to put those who had us. As a matter of fact, let me just read it. I'm bad at paraphrasing. You see, Revelations 13, verse 10, right? He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the patience and the faith of the saints. We're patiently waiting for this. And we're also patiently waiting for our salvation. And that needs to happen because our brethren are dying. Because we are dying. Because our brothers who are Israelites who are not in this truth are dying. The world's just dying off of the heathen ruling over it. We don't have power over the world, and we don't have that everlasting life, which is basically our kingdom and our rulership and our dominion. When we don't have that, the world is just out of whack. And obtaining that is way better, and focusing on that is way better than focusing on what you are focusing on the small stuff that you have to deal with. We need to be seeking the kingdom, and we need to be seeking the Lord's kingdom and the righteousness thereof, so all things can be added unto us. And one of those things could be a solution to your problem, to be a solution to the tribulation you have to go through. We have to be seeking the Lord and applying his scriptures in our life, or we're not going to have no type of benefit. We can call ourselves Israelites all day, call ourselves Hebrew Israelites, say we believe in the law, put fringes on, but when it comes down to where you have to have faith in God to get you through your tribulation, if you don't have that, you're not about to get saved. Because all the fearful are going to have their part in the lake of fire. Because really, when you think about this is actually a faith issue. At the root core of not giving up when times get hard, it really boils down to having a faith issue. And our faith needs to be strengthened. And you also need to understand what type of God you serve. And we're going to get to that in a minute. Let me get this real quick. Let's see, Revelations 21, verse 8. But the fearful and unbelieving, because if you're fearful and not actually having faith in the Lord, you really don't believe in God. We can say we believe in God. We can put fringes on our shirt, put a beard on our face, but when it comes down to you having to actually have faith in the Lord to get you through a situation, and you just buckling under that, that's showing that you are fearful, and you don't believe in the Lord. You don't believe that he is your shield and your buckler to get you through everything. You don't put upon the shield of faith, like it says in Ephesians chapter 6. I'm gonna keep going. And the abominable and the murderers and the whoremongers and sorcerers and idolaters and all liars. So you're bad as somebody. You're bad as a murderer, or if you don't have faith in the Lord. You're bad as a whoremonger, a sorcerer, an idolater, somebody who believes in another god. You're gonna face the same type of judgment that they do. That's how powerful and how important it is to have faith in the Lord. And all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire, and brimstone, which is the second death. And what's that second death? The destruction of America. The wasting of America that's coming very soon. The wasting of the neo Babylon, the new spiritual Babylon, like it talks about all through Revelations, even in Isaiah and Jeremiah, that alludes to another Babylon, which isn't the one that they went through in their time period. That's that second death that's coming very soon. And if you don't have that faith in the Lord and you're not walking in faith, you're gonna take part in that second death. It don't matter how much fringes you got on. It don't matter how many commandments you keep. If you don't got faith, you are not going to be saved. Now, with that type of mind state, you have to understand what type of God we serve. You have to understand that we serve a God that will kill you. We serve. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and get a precept real fast. 1 Samuel 2. So we got to understand the propensity of the Lord, right? That's 1 Samuel 2 verse 6, right? This is Yahweh killeth and maketh alive. He bringeth down to the grave and bringeth up. He has the power to kill and make alive. He does that all the time. And you see, it has the power to bring people up because he did the same thing with Yahushua and the other people who came with Yahushua. The other people who were brought up out of the graves during Yahushua's resurrection, like it says in certain gospels. I'm going to keep going. Yahweh maketh poor and maketh rich. He bringeth low and lifteth up. He raises up the poor out of the dust and lifteth him. He raises up the poor out of the dust and lifteth up the beggar from the dunghill, right? To set him among princes and to make them inherit the throne of glory. For the pillars of the earth are Yahweh's, and he has set the world upon them. Why? Because he has authority over everything. He is existence going into his name. He has authority over everything. He can, if you were in a lower state as far as you homeless and you don't have nothing, the Lord that same day could make you rich. He has the power to do that. And I say that to say this: the Lord put you in the position that he put you in. If you're going through something and you're going through certain tribulations, you're going through things in your family, the Lord did that to you. And you have to realize that. We can't be like the Christians who say everything's Satan. All that, this is happening, all that Satan. No, everything is not Satan. The Lord ordained that to happen to you for specific reasons. And that reason is to refine. If you come out of it, it's to refine you and to make you more precious in the gold of fear. Something we're going to get to in a minute. But let me get Amos 3 real quick. Going into the type of God we serve. Amos 3 verse 6. Shall a trumpet be blown in the city and the people not be afraid? Shall there be evil in a city and Yahweh have not done it? And that's rhetorical. Why? Because the Lord did it. The Lord brings about the evil and the good that happens in your life. The Lord does all these things. He says, I, the Lord, do these things, man. He has authority over everything. Like, because Christians will try to make you believe that like just Satan's just out here doing whatever he wants to do. No, Satan has to come and appear before the Lord and get his instructions to do what he does. You see that in Job with the divine counsels. And with that type of understanding, you have to realize, like, damn, if the Lord kills people, the Lord can make people alive. He brings upon evil. He brings upon good upon people. I have to realize the bad things or evil things that's happening to me is happening because the Lord brought that upon me. He did this. He makes the light and the darkness, like it says in Isaiah. Let me get this before we move on. Let me see. I think it's Isaiah 45. Yeah, Isaiah 45 and 7. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, Yahweh, do these things. He does all these things. He ordains all these things to happen to you as people. That's how you know that nobody's exempt from dealing with any type of tribulation, because the Lord makes the tribulations happen. It's not no random thing that just happens to you. The Lord brought that upon you. Ultimately, for what? And yeah, and this goes back to what I said before. Wisdom and knowledge would be the wisdom and knowledge would be the stability of your time period, your times. I don't know why I said time period, but your times, right? If you know that and know the Lord brings about this tribulation, you have to use the wisdom that you have through the scriptures to get yourselves through that, to strengthen your faith through that, because it's ultimately for your refinement. It's ultimately for your betterment if you're meant to go through it. Because some people are already designed for destruction in the first place. That's like second Thessalonians, who the people who are given strong illusions that they may be destroyed, that they may be damned, they be set up for perdition already. But for the people who are not set up for perdition, who are not set up for that ultimate destruction, these tribulations that are brought upon you is to refine you, to make you better. And we're going to get scripture to prove that. Right? Let's get Isaiah 13. All right. 13, 12. Oh, shit. Yeah, this is Isaiah 13. Well, I'm going to read this and I'm going to get another precept and jump right back to this. This is Isaiah 13, verse 12. It says, I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir, right? The Lord's going to make a man more precious than gold. Now, how is he going to do that? Let's go back to SICARRI. Let me see if I can get this in the King James. I wonder what it says. I'll hold this. I want to see what that's going to say in the CEB. KJV. I want to see what that says in the CEB. Yeah, right here. This is SICARRI chapter 2, verse 5. For gold is tried in the fire. Gold is tried in the fire. Now, if you know anything about blacksmithing, where they take metals, right, to purify them, what they do is they heat them up, and they heat them up in the furnace so that the impurities fall off of them, and they beat the metal so to help the process of the impurities getting beaten off the gold or the silver or the bronze. They do that, and that's the same way the Lord deals with us. He puts that heat upon you, he puts that pressure upon you, and then beats you in that process to beat them impurities off of you. To try you, to see if you gonna come out of that and be that man tried in the fire and that acceptable man in the furnace of adversity. That second half of that is an acceptable man in the furnace of adversity. Just the same way you try gold, and the same way you beat the impurities off to get that pure brick of gold, the same way the Lord does that to us through our tribulations that we go through, so that at the end that we'll be better off, and we'll be pressing closer to the mark of that high calling of him. Now, when you go back to Isaiah 13, that explains that. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. That's how he's going to do that, by putting you through that affliction and beating you and blacksmithing you and refining you and beating those impurities off of you. That's what this is for. Because there's only two things that's going to happen. It's either you're going to be brought through this affliction. You're going to be brought through this affliction, or you're going to fold and you're going to go back into the world and go into perdition and die, or there's impurities and that worldliness is going to be beaten off of you to where you get even closer unto the Lord, and to be that servant he wants you to be, and be that fine gold tried in the fire. That's the only two things that's going to happen. So with that type of mindset, that should already put you in a type of mindset like, look, the Lord's doing this for a certain type of reason. Let me suffer through this and do what I need to do, ultimately for my salvation and ultimately for the betterment of myself. And knowing these things, this should boost your faith to where you don't fold. Because Christians don't have this type of, this is one thing you got to understand. And Christians and worldly people are synonymous, right? People were without the scriptures and without the understanding of the scriptures. That's why they're so easy to fold on certain situations. But us who are in the know and actually know the scriptures and try to apply them to our lives, we're not going to fold on things like this. We're not going to fold when we lose our job. I don't know what I'm going to do. Oh, this is happening. I don't know what I'm going to do. This, we know what we're going to do. We're going to stand fast. We're going to stand steadfast on the words on the word of the Lord, and suffer through that tribulation, but a short time. And at the end of that, we're going to be made better after that. This is overall all. That's one thing. That's one thing I want to hammer into this lesson. All the stuff that happens to you in your life, as far as tribulations and bad things, hell, even good things, is ultimately for your betterment or your destruction. Really, for your betterment or your destruction. You're either going to fold and go back into the world, or you're going to come out of that even better and have a testimony to help other brothers or sisters get through what they got to get through. And matter of fact, let me get that precept for that. That's Romans 5. Is it 2? I think it's Romans 5 and 2. Is it 3? It's 3. It's Romans 5 verse 3. It says, and not only so, but we glory in tribulations. We glory in tribulations. And why would Paul say this? Why would Paul say we glory in tribulations? Here's the answer. We glory in tribulations because we know the Lord's dealing with us. If the Lord wasn't dealing with us, he'd allow us to go through life without a care in the world and then ultimately die. But since the Lord deals with us, he puts us through tribulations because he deals with us as sons. He sees you going off. He's going to start hitting you with that whip. Just like if you have a child and you got to discipline your child, he deals with you as sons. So we need to glory in this tribulation. You need to glory in the tribulation that you have to just so you know that the Lord is dealing with you. And you want and things like this goes back to the very first precept I read. Romans chapter 15, verse 4 was all the things that was written aforetime was written for our learning. Since we know this, we know how to deal with these situations. We know how we should be in these situations. We know what the Lord's plan is in these situations. We need to operate in the spirit, and we need to operate in the knowledge. We need to operate in the knowledge of wisdom that the scriptures gives us. Because that'll keep you stable, and that'll keep you stable. It's like it. That'll keep you stable through the tribulation you are going to go through, man. And honestly, I can give personal testimony. I was going through quite a bit of stuff in the last few months, and I remember Asimov pulled me to the side, and he noticed it, and he said like, are you? I know you're going through something. I'm just going to paraphrase what he said. Are you going through stuff and applying and reading and applying the scriptures about going through your hard times you're going through? And like I had to stop and look at him like, bro, like honestly, I've been focusing on other stuff. And I was wondering why I was just stuck in this pit of despair and pit of like just like in a not like I'll just say like not in the right spirit. And like that really kind of sparked me to start looking at these precepts and start to try to come up with this type of lesson. Because I've been thinking about this for a few weeks, to be honest. Like when we're going through stuff, we have to realize that these scriptures exist. We have to start applying these scriptures. Because I'm sitting here studying other stuff. I'm trying to get prophecy breakdowns and do other stuff like that. But I wasn't focusing on the scriptures that explain to me how to get through these situations and explain to me and reassure, because I knew this already. And the scripture that reassured me that God's doing this for a certain reason. And I'm either going to fold or I'm not. I'm going to suffer through it and come better, become a better man after it, and have an example and have an experience to teach other brothers about the certain situations that I go through. And all praises for Asimov, and like the Lord using Asimov to tell me that. Because sometimes you need somebody to tell you about your. Matter of fact, all the time you need somebody to tell you about yourself. Let's just say it like that. Because you want to be able to love rebuke. Because I love when my brothers correct me on certain situations, because that's how I know they love me. That's Leviticus chapter 19. They'll rebuke me if they see me going off, man. And he saw me going off, and he saw me not operating the way I'm supposed to do as far as the scriptures. And since he said that to me, I started taking a look at these scriptures, started putting these scriptures together, and thought about, like, you know what? Let me teach a lesson on this, because that's something I see with our people. I'm not just this dude who's just flawless and I'm just this perfect dude. Even though I'm in a position and a role to teach the scriptures, I'm still subject to my own type of issues that I have to deal with. And that's not even just me, that's all of Israel. And we need to apply the scriptures to help us get through this. Like we all have to if we want to be saved, we want that strength of salvation. Like matter of fact, let me bring this out again, because that like these like Romans 15 and Romans 15 and 4 and Isaiah 33 and 6 are such powerful scriptures, right? I'm gonna read this again. It's a wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and strength of salvation. This is the power, the strength and power is going to lead us to salvation. This wisdom and knowledge of operating in it, the application of it. It's cool to just know, oh, there's scriptures about going through hard times, but you got to apply those things to get that strength and power to lead you to salvation, and not even just on a ultimate salvation, but on just a micro level of getting you through the situations that you have to actually go through in life. And this and applying what he told me and applying these scriptures, I'm in a way better place than I was a few weeks ago. I'm in a way better place than I was a month ago. Because you have to apply these scriptures, bro. I don't know how many times I can't stress that enough throughout this lesson. This lesson, you have to apply these scriptures. And you have to apply what you learn through your faith and strengthen your faith to bring you through these situations. But let me go back to Romans 5. Because it's going to double down on it. It says Romans 5 and verse 3. And not only so, but we glory in tribulations also, knowing that tribulation worketh patience. It worketh patience, right? Once you've gone through something before, if you have to go through a certain situation again in this kind of the same type of tribulation, you'll be more patient through it because, okay, I made it through this before. I can do it again. I have patience through this. Verse 4, it says, and patience, experience. You have experience in a certain situation. And going back to what I said before, once you have experience making it through certain tribulations, when you have experience making it through certain tribulations, then you have experience in it. So now you can teach your brother to get through them situations. Now you can show somebody else to get through that specific situation. So now they don't have to go through it as long as you have to. Now you can be used as a vessel to teach. Now you can be used as a vessel to help somebody through their tribulation. Right? I'm gonna keep going. Experience hope. Hope. What is hope synonymous with? Faith. That builds your faith. If you believed in the Lord, right, when you're going through these certain situations and he delivers you out of that situation, now you have an experience in that. You have experience that the Lord brought you out of that situation. It's like you can always think about it and like, dang, the Lord really is real. He brought me out of this situation. All I had to do was believe on him. I believed on him, and here he is. Here come the Lord bringing me out of this situation. Here come the Lord exalting me out of this situation. Because I stood steadfast on him. That's a faith boost. And I definitely got a class coming for that. Faith boosters. That's something that should boost your faith. Thinking about, oh, the Lord saved me out of the X, Y, and Z, man. Like having a testimony. Because nobody can take that away from you. Nobody can take that away from you. That's something you experience. That's something you experiencing. That's something you experienced. That's a trial that you experienced the Lord saving you out of and bringing you out of that situation. And nobody can take that from you. And you can teach people with that through that experience you got. That's what Romans chapter 5 is trying to, and in this context, it's trying to teach people. I'm gonna keep going. Right? Where was that? I think it's gonna go in something different in 5. Yeah, I'm gonna go back to SICARRI chapter 2. Right, this is SICARRI chapter 2. It says, "My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation." And going back to what I said before, like when you come into this truth, it really honestly only gets harder. Because now you got to go out of your way. Now you got to go out of your way to avoid these holidays. You got to go out of your way to avoid wicked conversation from your brethren in Gentile mind states, the Gentiles themselves, pork, shrimp, lobster that they try to shove in everything that makes no sense to shove it into, like Velveeta cheese. Why is pork and Velveeta cheese? What is that for? What does that do? What does that do for Velveeta cheese? Like you have to go out of your way and think consciously. I have to keep myself from breaking the law, statutes, and commandments of the Lord. So now I have to watch my step and be prudent in everything I do. You got to prepare yourself for temptations. That plus the other stuff you got to do with. Right? Verse 2, set thy heart aright and constantly endure and make not haste in time of trouble. We already read that before. We already went through that already. Right? Let me go to verse 3. Cleave unto him. And that's the thing right there. I wish I could highlight it. There you go. Cleave unto him. We have to cleave unto the Lord. And how do we cleave unto the Lord? Through the scriptures he gave us. And unto Yahweh Shai's testimony, because he's the word made flesh, like it says in John. We have to cleave unto him through his word. And through the faith that gets built up through the scriptures. It says, and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end. And that's why I be saying about people who was like, I almost fell out of the truth. How do you almost fall out of the truth, bro? Like once you start forgetting about the Lord and thinking he doesn't exist, that's when you're without nothing. And that's something people don't understand. Like me knowing what I know, I don't see how I could go back into the world, bro. Because honestly, if you want like without this truth, without knowing I'm an Israelite, without knowing that I have a God who will save me if I do what I'm supposed to do, I have nothing. All I got to do, all I have in the world is to stay black and die. That's it. I can't depart. Knowing what I know, I cannot depart from the Lord through the wisdom and knowledge that I got through the scriptures. I just can't. The Lord would have to just put a spirit upon me to walk away from this, because the way I am now, I can't do that based off what I know. And since I know what's going to happen to those people who are going to depart away from the Lord, they're not going to be increased, and they're not going to be increased at their latter end. They're going to be decreased in their last end, man. That decrease is going to be being utterly burnt with fire and tasting of the second death. That's coming very, 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 very soon, man. Because looking at the prophecies, hell, the mark of the beast is on its way, which is the RFID chip, or something implantable is coming very soon. We see wars and rumors of wars. We see all these things coming. We at the end, bro. We rounding the corner to the finish line. And we need to be strengthening our faith, because it's only going to get harder. It's only going to get harder up until that point. We got to build up our endurance in this faith and boost our faith by reading the scriptures and going through the tribulations we're going through and cleaving unto the Lord all the way through till you have a testimony. Verse 4, whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate. You got to, and that's glorying in your tribulations. But you got to take that cheerfully, because the Lord's dealing with you. At the end of the day, the Lord's dealing with you. He's not dealing with you like the heathen, where he just doesn't do nothing for you. The Lord is dealing with you like a son. So take that, endure through that to where you can be increased in your last end. Verse 5, for gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. Believe in him. That's faith. Believe, hope, faith is all synonymous. Believe in the Lord. If you start trying to doubt the Lord, if you start doubting the Lord, you don't believe in the Lord, bro. You don't believe in him. It says believe in him, and if you believe him, and he will help thee. You wonder why you're stuck in your position, because you're not believing in the Lord. That's why he's not helping you. It says order thy way right, trust in him. Ye that fear Yahweh, wait for his mercy, and go not aside lest ye fall. Going back into the world, going back into that old man, and ultimately dying. That's that fall. Verse 8, ye that fear the Lord, believe in him, and your reward shall not fail. And what's that reward? The kingdom. And on a micro level, like I said before, being brought out of that certain situation that you're in. Verse 9, ye that fear the Lord, hope for good, and for everlasting joy and mercy. Look at the generations of old, and that thing going back to what I said before about the examples. Through the scriptures, we have examples of people people holding and fearing the Lord and being brought out of their situation. David, hell, I mean Psalms. Just look at Psalms specifically. Look at Psalms. That's David praying. That's David. David praying to the Lord, being brought out of his situation, being saved from his enemies, being saved from peril. I'm gonna read this again. Look at the generation of old and see, did any ever trust in Yahweh and was confounded and was just left to just have to just figure it out by themselves? No, they got saved out of their situation. Or did any abide in fear and was forsaken? Do you see that in the scriptures? No. Or whom did he ever despise that called upon him? The Lord, for the Lord is full of compassion and mercy, long suffering, and very pitiful, and forgiveth sins, and saveth in time of affliction. The Lord saves you out of your time of affliction if you cleave unto him, if you believe him, and he will help thee out of that and save you in the time of affliction. We have to keep that mind state. Like, that's the mindset we have to have, and we're only going to get that through the wisdom and knowledge of the scriptures, the wisdom and knowledge of SICARRI, wisdom and knowledge of Isaiah 33, the wisdom and knowledge of what Christ said, what Paul said, what the prophet said, what's been done in history. Having these scriptures and having this and keeping this in your mindset, you know how to move on and move in the scriptures and move in the spirit. Let me get a precept in Psalms, because I was talking about Psalms. I wish the Blue Letter had the pocket for it. I don't like going to 2 different websites. Psalms 40, is it 43? Is it 40? 33? What is it? 34. It's 34. Is it 34? Let me see. I think I wrote this down. Oh, it's 46. I'm tripping. It says Psalms 46:1. God is our refuge and strength. Refuge, a safe place, and strength and his power. God is that. Yahweh is that. A very present help in trouble. He's a very present help in trouble. That means present means he's there. He's there for you in your time of trouble. If you believe in him, if you cleave unto him, he's there for you. Verse 2. Therefore, will not we fear, though the earth be removed, or earthquakes happen, and though the mountains be carried in the midst of the sea, like literal mountains fall into the sea, all those major calamities that happen that we've never seen before, earthquakes we've seen before, but that, as far as mountains, we haven't seen before. Though the waters there roar and be troubled, though the mountains shake with the swell thereof, we're still gonna fear we're still gonna believe in the Lord. He's gonna save us out of that. No matter what we see, no matter what the hell we are going through, we're gonna still fear the Lord and believe in him and cleave unto him, and he will help us out of that. We will not fear, because we know those who are fearful, like how it says in Revelation chapter 21, those who are fearful are going to taste of that second death, which burneth with fire and brimstone. We want to be saved out of our situation. And we also want to have that overall eternal salvation, and that comes by cleaving unto him and having faith in the Lord. Going back to what I said in the very beginning, we like a lot of issues that our people face, as far as I don't know how I'm gonna get through this. It's really a lack of faith at the end, and what it boils down to at the core of what it is, it's a lack of faith, and we need to build that up, because that's the only way we saved out of this place. Because through grace and faith are we saved. That's Ephesians chapter 2. I'm gonna get some more Psalms. I think now I'm on Psalms 34, 17. 17, yeah. Psalms 34 and 17. The righteous cry, and Yahweh heareth, and delivereth them out of their troubles. And what is that? That's prayer. That's prayer. The righteous cry, and the Lord hears it, and he delivers them out of their troubles. The righteous cry. and how do you be righteous? You got to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. That's why when you get in John, I'm going to get this precept real quick. John, it's a milk scripture real fast. John 9:31. And it says, John 9:31. Now we know that God heareth not sinners. So if you're sitting there breaking God's commandments and you praying to him, he's not going to hear that. The Lord ain't hearing that prayer if you're not being righteous. If you're not attempting to try to be righteous, the Lord ain't hearing that. Now we know that God heareth not sinners, but if any man be a worshiper of God and doeth his will, what's the will of the commandments? That's Psalms chapter 40, verse 8. Doeth his will, him will he hear it. And going back to Psalms 34, verse 17, when the righteous cry, the Lord heareth and delivereth them out of all their troubles. Verse 18, Yahweh is nigh unto them, or near, or present unto them, but of a broken heart, and saveth such as be a contrite spirit. Like you know that you may have went off, or you know that you're not that you have fallen from the glory, right? And you're trying to get back, and you're seeking the Lord 10 times more since you went astray, and you're trying your best to be righteous, and the Lord will hear that and save you out of that trouble, save you out of that situation, give you that ultimate salvation. Verse 19, and this is the key point I wanted to bring out of Psalm 34. Many are the afflictions of the righteous. Showing you that the people in this truth, you're going to go through something. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but Yahweh delivereth him out of them all. You're not about to go through this truth and it's about to be easy peasy. You're not about to be just sliding through it, man. Many are the afflictions of the righteous. You're going to go through something. When you come to serve the Lord, prepare yourself for temptation. Prepare yourself to be fighting stuff every damn day, man. You got to put on that shield of faith. Prepare yourself, because you about to go through something. You about to lose family members. You about to lose friends. You can lose your job. You can lose body parts. You can lose property. You can lose anything. But if you lose that for the Lord's sake, you're going to get tenfold, 100-fold. Like Yahweh said, if you do that in his name's sake, not for doing it in some wickedness, but doing it for his name's sake and following after the truth of the gospel. Let me get this one, Isaiah 26. And Thawada David, it said DeMello, Thawada David DeMello, Barakatah. Let me see. Isaiah's 26. What is this? 26 and 3. Is Isaiah chapter 26, verse 3. That will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusteth in thee. Right? Now let's look at this, right? That's going into faith, because it says, I'm reading it again. Thou shalt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusteth thee. That trust is synonymous with what? Faith. Even the Hebrew word, this faith is trusting. If you have that faith, he's going to keep you in that perfect peace through what? Through your temptations, through all the stuff that you have to go through, and through your troubles. Trust ye in Yahweh forever, for in Yahweh is everlasting strength. And how do you trust in him? Through holding in mind all the scriptures and holding fast to the scriptures and the works that he left before us, because that's the strength of our salvation. In him, in Yahweh, is everlasting strength. That'll bring you through everything. But you got to have faith. At the core of it, you got to have faith, man. And I want to segue. No, before I segue, we can't forget about this too. I want to make this point real quick. 1 Thessalonians 5:17. We got to do this. I don't know if y'all can see this on the screen very well. I'm going to read it. This is 1 Thessalonians 5:17. Pray without ceasing. Pray without ceasing. What does cease mean? Stop. Don't stop praying. We have to keep praying. When you're going through your situations, a part of cleaving unto the Lord, you have to pray. Some people pray with their families, some people pray by themselves. I do the latter. I pray by myself. I don't really like praying around other people. I like to do it by myself, to be honest. But we have to pray without ceasing to get you through your situations. We can't negate that. We can't, like, yes, it's fine to keep the works. Yes, that's fine. You gotta have the faith and to align yourself back with the Lord. You gotta, and to make your supplications known, you gotta pray without ceasing. And do what you're supposed to do while you're praying, because the prayer of a righteous man, the fervent prayer of a righteous man, availeth much. James 5:16, confess your faults one to another and pray one for another that ye may be healed. The effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. So if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing and you're cleaving unto the Lord through your tribulations, that prayer will be heard. The Lord is in the business of answering prayers, but you got to do something for him. What he told you to do, his will. We have to cleave unto the Lord. We can't be sitting there going through tribulations and say, "Oh Lord, just help me out of this situation," but you're not praying. You're not keeping the commandments. You're not doing nothing for the Lord. How you expect him to do something for you? How you expect him to help you out of that situation if you're not doing nothing for him? The Lord is with you. The Lord is with you while you be with him, like it says in Samuel. I think, is it Chronicles? I think it's Chronicles that says that. Like, if you want your prayers to be heard and you want to be brought in a situation, you got to cleave unto the Lord and do what he tells you to do and be a righteous man to the best of your ability. And that's actually a cut on the way Christians use Romans 3, where they say nobody's righteous. Oh, see, nobody's righteous. But what does it mean right here when it says the effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man? That means, I guess, if nobody can be righteous, that means nobody's prayer is getting heard. That's just a quick segue, because I know Christians like to go to Romans chapter 3 and say, "Oh, nobody's righteous." I'm gonna put that in my back pocket, because we always go to Luke chapter 1. Well, I'm definitely gonna put that in my back pocket. I forgot about that precept. And that's also, because, matter of fact, I'm gonna read this first part again. I'm gonna make a point. It says, "Confess your faults one to another and pray for one another." It's good to have friends in this truth, man. It's good to be around somebody. It's good to be continually with a godly man who thou knowest to keep the commandments, who will sorrow with thee when thou shalt miscarry, like it says in SICARRI. 2 is better than 1, like it says in Ecclesiastes. And we don't get those scriptures, but I want to get this one real fast. That's SICARRI. Now, shout out to the book of SICARRI, man. It's got the precepts. It's got the preceptuals. SICARRI 6. Where do I want to start at? I'm going to start at 14. It says, the SICARRI 6 and 14, "A faithful friend is a strong defense." Oh, a strong defense. "And he that hath found such and one found a treasure." And that can be in the form of a lot of different things. That can be a form of somebody in your congregation. That can be a form of somebody who you're just around, who's keeping you honest about the scriptures, and who sees you going off and will say something to you about it. That's a treasure, because you can be surrounded by a lot of people who won't tell you about yourself, who will talk to other people about yourself, but won't tell you about yourself, who won't try to correct you in your situations. Because that's the ultimate love. That's the ultimate love that you can show to somebody. It's to show them where they're off according to the scriptures, to realign them back to the Father. That's the ultimate love. And that's a treasure, because you don't see that a lot. A lot of people will sit there and keep stuff to themselves and see you going off and then talk about you to somebody else and won't say nothing to you or won't do nothing to help you. That's why it's a treasure and a strong defense. Because a matter of fact, it says a faithful friend is a strong defense. That's hell. A faithful friend who's keeping you honest according to the scriptures will defend you from that second death. If I see you going off or doing something that could put you on the position or on the road to be a part of the second death, and I don't say nothing, I'm not a faithful friend to you. I'm not defending you from that. Like the scriptures are manifold deep, man. It's crazy. But it goes back to my point is that it's good. I would say it's a necessity to have somebody in this, whether it be your wife, it can be in the form of your wife or wives, or or your somebody in your congregation, your leadership, or just somebody, man. It's a necessity to have somebody in this truth with you, because just trying to do this, trying to be an individualite in this truth is hard, and you don't got nobody to keep you honest, and you just, that's when you get complacent. That's when you start just like, oh, well, if the Lord ain't destroying me yet for this, I guess this is okay. That's when things like that start to arise. But when you got that faithful friend who will hold you accountable according to the scriptures, that's how you never fall. That's how you stay on the path, by having people help you in this. We all need help. Ain't nobody just exempt from needing help, man. You're gonna need help at some point in your life. How much more the truth? How much more in your walk and keeping the commandments and the faith of God? I'm gonna keep going. Verse 15. Nothing do countervail a faithful friend. His excellence is valuable. Is it invaluable? Going back into them being a treasure, right? Because just like I said before, man, like having somebody hold you accountable to the scriptures is a great thing, man. And that's why I love being in, like how people want to say, oh, y'all in the camp, y'all are wicked. I love being in the camp, man, because I have somebody consistently holding me accountable to scriptures. Just like how I said Osmond did to me. That's what ultimately sparked this lesson. Like, that's invaluable. Verse 16. It says, a faithful friend is the medicine of life. Medicine of life that'll extend your life. Because matter of fact, I'll get this right quick. Just real quick. It's Romans 6, verse 23. For the wages of sin is death. Let's just stop right there. The wages of sin is death. So what comes from transgressing the Lord's commandments? That's death. You're shortening your lifespan. But if you have a friend, a faithful friend who's holding you accountable, that's the medicine of life, and it extends your life. That'll keep you on the path. Just like how Yahweh said in Matthew chapter 19, verse 16. If you, like, a matter of fact, let me get that. Let me get it real quick. Right? We don't have to get the whole thing. I just wanted to get that one part. I think it's Matthew 19 to 17. And it says, and he said unto him, why callest thou me good? There is none good but one, that is God. But if thou wilt enter into life, you gain life by what? Keeping the commandments. So if I have that faithful friend that'll hold me accountable to the commandments, he'll keep me in the way of life. That's the medicine of life. Having somebody to hold you accountable. And they that fear the Lord shall find him. Verse 17. Whoso feareth the Lord shall direct his friendship aright, for as he is, so shall his neighbor be also. Why? Because they're holding each other accountable. And how are they direct their friendship aright? Because they keep the commandments, and you know how to deal civilly with your brother. Like in Leviticus 19, where it talks about, matter of fact, because that let me get this real quick. Leviticus 19. Why does it keep jumping to that? Leviticus 19. Because transgressing these commandments can derail the friendship. Like this. Leviticus 19 verse 11. Ye shall not steal, neither deal falsely, neither lie one to another. Now, these are things that will derail the friendship if you do these things. And fearing the Lord is keeping the commandments, like Leviticus 19. So if I don't steal from my brother and don't deal with him falsely, or neither lie to him, I can maintain my friendship. I can direct my friendship aright if I fear the Lord. 13. Thou shalt not defraud thy neighbor, neither rob him. The wages of him that is hired shall not abide within the all night until the morning. I'm not going to defraud my neighbor nor rob him. That's how I keep my friendship and direct my friendship right, because I keep these commandments. And if I'm doing that, I'm going to hold my friend accountable to that as well. As I am, so shall he be. And vice versa. And we need to do that in our households as well, as far as our wives, as far as our children. We need to hold them accountable to the scriptures. It don't matter if it hurts their feelings. Open rebuke is better than secret love. That's how you show you love your wife, by rebuking them. That's how you show you love your children, by rebuking them. That's how you show you love your mom and your father, by rebuking them and showing when they're going off. That's better than secret love. That's if they take heed to the knowledge, that's defending them from the fire that's going to come from them transgressing the laws. 2 is better than 1, man. Let me get that. Ecclesiastes 4. 4 and 9. It says two are better than 1, because they have good reward for their labor. 2 is better than 1. It's a lot better to be in the truth with somebody with you, man. Somebody to help you and hold you accountable. And honestly, and to be honest, personal testimony, that's when I got a little bit when I started dealing with this brother, back when I was living in Waco, when I started dealing with my brother I forgot his whole name, man. I'm tripping, man. I done forgot my brother. I forgot my brother's name. Oh man. Oh yeah, Azariah. That's his name. I completely forgot, bro. My memory is bad. But like this, man, that's when I really started to grow in this truth. When me and him started coming together and actually learning together, and then started teaching class and teaching other Israelites. That's when I started really kind of evolving in this truth and having somebody hold me accountable and holding him accountable as well. That's when I really started to elevate myself in this truth and set myself apart from being an individualite. But let me go back to this. 2 are better than 1, because they have good reward for their labor. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow. See? Rebuking your brother and get him back up and bringing him back up. For if they fall, one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him that is alone when he falleth. Because when you're alone, when you ain't got nobody to hold you accountable, you just fall and you just think it's okay. You just fall and nobody's holding you accountable. And if you're complacent in your sin, you're going to keep doing it. You're going to keep staying in a state of falling backwards and backsliding, really. Woe unto him, this woe is destruction, but destruction to him that is alone when he falleth. For he hath not another to help him up. And we need help in this truth, man. We're not doing this by ourselves. That's why it says, gather together, O nation not desired. Before the decree break forth, like it says in Zephaniah chapter 2 and 1 through 2. And it says again, if 2 lie together, then they have heat. But how can one be warm alone? And if one prevail against him, 2 shall withstand him. And a threefold cord is not quickly broken. So even if you add a third person, and you add a third person to that, right? You even stronger. The more people you have with you and who is like-minded with you, who has the same doctrine as you, who can stand with you and fight, and that's spiritual warfare you got to fight. Whether it be your own issues, whether it be a tribulation you got to go through, whether it be you be on the streets trying to teach our people. Like you got to have friends in this, because the Lord sees that and writes a book. Matter of fact, Malachi 3. The Lord pays attention to that. Malachi 3 verse 16. Then they, right, multiple people, then they that feared Yahweh spake often one to another, and Yahweh hearkened and heard it, and a book of remembrance was written before him and him for them that feared Yahweh and thought upon his name. And they shall be mine, saith Yahweh, and that day when I make up my jewels. And what's the jewels? The elect of the elect. Kodash, Kodash, the holy of the holies. Those who are going to be saved and have that strength of salvation. Those who came together and thought upon the Lord's name, because the Lord will hearken unto that and write a book of remembrance to it. And hold y'all together. Hold y'all together in this to help y'all to honestly to bear each other's burdens, to bring y'all ultimately into that salvation, and to bring each other out on a macro level out of the tribulation that they already have to deal with on a micro level. It says, and I will spare them as a man spareth his own son that serveth him. And that comes from what? Bearing each other's burdens. Right? Bear you one another's burdens and so fulfill the law of Christ. And that's going into love, going to loving your neighbor. When we bear each other's burdens through our tribulations, it makes it easier to go through it, knowing you have somebody there with you. Having a third person, a threefold cord is not easily broken. It's even easier for you to make it through that tribulation with more people helping you along the way. More people trying to build you up and bear that burden with you. Say just like how, say you in the olden times and you have a donkey and it falls into a ditch. That donkey's going to weigh a considerable amount of weight, and that's going to be kind of hard for you to get it out by yourself. But and that's a burden for you. And if you have somebody else helping you do it, the load's even lighter. You got 2 people, have 3 people doing it, the load's even lighter after that. And that's something to help bring you through this, bring you through your tribulations. Yes, you have to have faith and the works as well, but also having friends will make that even easier for you. Have people who are like-minded with you, make it easier for you and make it an easier time for you to get through your tribulations, whether it be your family or friends or your wife or wives. Like this subject is something we all really need to encapsulate as Israelites in this truth and being practicing Israelites, because you're going, like, even now, everybody's going through something. And if you have somebody to talk to, or you have somebody to help bear that burden, it's so much easier and so much lighter. And it's a lot easier to go through it. So we can't negate the fact that we need friends. We can't negate the fact that we need somebody to help us. We need somebody to bring us through this. Because it's ultimately for your salvation. And that's pretty much the gist of the entire lesson. But I want to get a few more precepts on faith, because we can't negate the fact that people folding on their when they start going through something and folding, oh, I give up, or I ain't doing this, or when people fold, it's really ultimately a lack of faith. They're not using their faith as a shield. They're not using the word of God as a sword. They're not doing that. They're not applying the scriptures to get them through their situation. Ephesians. Let me get Ephesians real fast. Right. And Salaki for jumping all over the place. It's just a lot of precepts that I'll be having on my mind. Let's see. Ephesians 6, verse 14. Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, right? What's the truth? The law, statutes, commandments, the faith, Yahweh Shai. That's all the truth. Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having a breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Right? Above all, above all that, taking the shield of faith. Faith is a shield. Faith is a refuge. Believing in God is a shield and refuge from all the situations you have to go through. So when you folding, you're not taking on that shield of faith. When you folding, you're not believing in the Lord. You're not cleaving unto the Lord. And that's a problem you have. If he spares you through that, that situation, you better hope you repent of that. You better hope you build up your faith and start getting through things. Because if you don't, you're going to be part of, like Revelation 21 says, you're going to be part of the fearful who die, who were part of that second death. We have to take that shield of faith. We have to believe in the Lord and cleave unto him, and he will help us do our, like it says, SICARRI 2, and he will help thee. Let me get that again. Right? SICARRI 2 and 6. Believe in him, and he will help thee. Order thy way aright, and trust in him. We have to believe in the Lord, and he will help us. Yes, think of your tribulation as like how it has right here. Like, I'm gonna keep going. And it says, wherewith you shall be able to quench the fiery darts of the wicked. Think of your tribulations like fiery darts or arrows. Fiery arrows getting pointed at you, and you got a shield blocking that. That'll keep you safe, because arrows can ultimately kill you if they pierce the skin and hit arteries. So if you have a shield, that'll block that and keep you safe. And that comes from what? Building up your wisdom in the scriptures and applying it. That'll be your stability in the times of trouble and your strength of salvation. That's like Isaiah, Isaiah 33 is a powerful chapter. And that verse where it talks about wisdom and knowledge, Isaiah 33 and 6, when it talks about our wisdom and knowledge to be the stability of our times, is a powerful thing, man. It's powerful, because that gives you it's the blueprint, bro. It's the blueprint. Like, take these scriptures, encapsulate them, and walk in them. Don't make haste in a time of trouble, and don't automatically forget the scriptures. Don't automatically forget the scriptures when stuff starts happening to you. Cleave unto the Lord. What was written aforetime was written for your learning, that you may have patience and hope in the scriptures. I'm gonna keep going. Wherewith you shall be able to quench the fiery darts of the wicked. Take the helm of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. The sword of the Spirit. And what does the sword do? Cut things. Just like when that deceiving spirit was trying to come on Christ, he cut it with the law. Like, you you use the word of God as your sword to cut through these ideologies. Because matter of fact, that really is a evil spirit that comes upon you to do things contrary to the word, and to be fearful, and to do things out of haste. You got to use the sword of the Spirit to cut that in your mind. Because matter of fact, let me get that in Corinthians real quick, because we use this a certain type of way, but you can also apply that. You can apply that a different way. Let me get this real fast. I think it's Corinthians 10. It says 2 Corinthians 2 verse 10. 2 Corinthians 10 verse 4. Slack it. For the weapons of our warfare aren't carnal, but mighty through the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. And what is Christ? The Word made flesh. How would you try to make a similitude to that? Filtering all your thoughts and all your doubts through the scriptures. When that fear starts coming, what I don't know, when the fear starts coming, like, oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do, or I'm just gonna give up, or I'm gonna start folding, you need to filter that through the scriptures. Wait a minute, I can't do that, because that shows I don't have faith in you, Lord. That shows I'm not cleaving unto you, Lord. That shows that I'm not actually what I say I am. Because honestly, the testing of your faith really shows you who you are and what you actually believe in. Because you can, like I said this 3 times on this live stream. You can put fringes on, have a beard on your face, but if you ain't got faith in the Lord, that's ultimately pointless. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it's pointless. You got to cast down these imaginations in your head, and you use that with the sword of the. You use that with the sword. I'm gonna get it. Where is that at? And the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. You cast that down with cast those evil imaginations down with the word of God, just like Yahweh did in Matthew, I believe that's 4. And verse 18, going back to what I said in 1 Thessalonians, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance, which is endurance, and supplication for the saints. You have to continue and pray. through your tribulations. You got to have that faith. First and foremost, you got to have that faith. That's that shield of faith to get you through the situations. And when all those fiery darts and them wicked imaginations come, you got to use the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, to cut that. Say, no, I'm not going to believe it. I'm not about to start doubting. I'm not about to start being faithless. I'm not about to start folding. Why? Because I know the word of God. I know the knowledge of God. I have that. Isaiah 33. Romans 15:4. I have that. I encapsulate that. So I'm not going to fold. Verse 19. And for me, that utterance may be given unto me, that I may open my mouth boldly to make known the mystery of the gospel. And that's how you'll be through your tribulations. I'm gonna open my mouth boldly, like, no, I'm not about to fold. We're gonna make it through this. Hell, you can have your wife down beside you. I don't know what we're gonna do. No, you just like how Job said. Like, what did his wife say? Like, what did he say? Something and die. Oh, what did she say? Let me see if I can find that real quick. Let me see. What he said, you said do stuff. Yeah, this is Job 2:9. And so then said his wife unto him, doest thou still retain thine integrity? Curse God and die. Because you will have some women to do that. Some women will put you in a position to be faithless or to take you away from your integrity. And what did Job say to her? Verse 10. But he said unto her, thou speakest as one of the foolish women speakest. What shall we receive good at the hand of God? And shall we not receive evil? And all this did not Job sin with his lips? But here's the thing. We receive good from the Lord. The good situation we're in, we receive from the Lord. And at the same time, he's going to give us evil situations, bad situations. The Lord, it's like in Isaiah 45, the Lord does both of those things. How would I do with these things? So it's foolish to think just because something's going wrong to just say, oh, just give up. Stop believing. I don't know how we're going to do this. You speak foolish as you sound like one of the foolish women. You sound like one of the worldly women. And that's why we have to, as men, honestly, we have this. You have to maintain our integrity, retain our sound and wholeness. Matter of fact, let me see what that is in the Hebrew right there. I'm very curious. Curse God and die. Does thou still retain thy integrity? What's integrity? Integrity, just literally integrity. All right. Let's see. Let's define that. Integrity. It says this is the Google definition of integrity. It says the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles, moral uprightness, similar to honesty, uprightness, probity, rectitude, honor. So do you still maintain your integrity, your strong moral principles? Do you still believe? Honestly, your faith. What it boils down to. Your soundness in the faith. Do you still maintain your faith? And here's Job saying, hell yes, I do. I'm glorying in my tribulation. Because the Lord dealing with me like a son. We can't forget that, man. We can't forget like just like how Job said at the end of that. We can't forget that the Lord gives us the good times and the Lord also gives us the bad times. We can't expect to receive good times from the Lord and not receive bad times. And if we cleave unto him, he'll help us do that and increase us at the end of it. Now, let me get an example real fast. I'm going to get two, then I'll be done. Matthew 8:21. This is Matthew chapter 8, verse 23. It says, and when he entered into a ship, his disciples followed him. And behold, there arose a great tempest in the sea. That's a great storm in the sea, insomuch that the ship was covered with waves. But he was asleep. Who was asleep? Yahushua. And his disciples came to him and awoke him, saying, Adonai, O Lord, save us, we perish. So they saw all that stuff. They saw the waves crashing on. They thought they was gonna die. They saw something that scared them. They saw something that frightened them. Right? They saw that. Disciples saw that. They said, Lord, save us and save us from this situation because we might die. We scared. Basically, at the end of the day, we're scared. What did Yahushua say? Verse 26. And he saith unto them, Why are ye fearful? Why are ye fearful, O ye of little faith? Little faith. If y'all was cleaving unto the Lord like y'all said y'all was, like y'all said y'all was doing, y'all wouldn't be fearful when things like this happen. You wouldn't be fearful when you see these waves coming upon the ship like this. Why do y'all have little faith? What Yahushua said. Then he arose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. But the men marveled, saying, What manner of man is this that even the winds and sea obey him? But the key point is this, and the overall arcing point of this little passage is that they saw destruction coming. They saw a bad situation. They saw themselves in a bad situation, and they got scared. And what did Yahushua say to them? Y'all don't got faith. Y'all have little faith. Y'all been walking around with me this whole time. We say we cleave unto the Lord. Now y'all see a bad situation. Now y'all want to start crying and saying y'all scared. Now y'all scary. That's Yahushua said to him when he woke up. When he woke up out of sleep. We didn't woke him up out of sleep. No, he had a hard time. He said, oh, now y'all see, you ever walk with me this whole time. No, I'm son of God, right? Now y'all scary when y'all get put in a bad situation. Where y'all faith at? And then you rebuked the sea and went back to sleep. Like, and how do we take that example and then bring it into our lives? How do we bring that example into our lives? When we see a bad situation, we can't be fearful like the disciples were in this situation. We have to cleave unto the Lord. We may see it may look like it's going to be our destruction, but the Lord have made a way for us to escape. If we cleave unto him. I'm gonna read this again for the third time. SICARRI 2 and 6. Believe in him and he will help thee. Order thy way right and trust him. Trust going into faith. Having faith in the Lord. If I believe in him, he will help me out of this situation. If Peter and the other disciples believed, if they believed like I said they believed, they wouldn't have to worry about waking up Yahushua right in this current moment. He wouldn't have to rebuke them for having little faith. In the same way, when we see bad stuff happen to us, or we see a situation that looks dire for us, we have to cleave unto the Lord and have faith in him, and he will help us. But the problem is a lot of our people haven't built their faith up on a rock. They haven't built their faith up and put it in the level to where they can withstand this. That's why our people fold on a lot of things. And I'm going to get this last example. Matthew 7 and 24. It's Matthew 7, verse 24. It's in two foundations. Our people aren't, and I just put a video on this earlier. Our people don't have a foundation in faith. Their faith isn't founded. And we're going to prove that. Matthew 7, 24. Therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man which built his house upon a rock. When the rain descended and the floods came, the tribulation, troublous times. I forgot how you say that word. I think I said it right. Tribulous times, right? When the rain descended and the floods came and the winds blew and beat upon that house. Just like I said, how gold is refined. They put it through heat and beat the impurities off of it. These people built their house upon a rock. And it beat upon that house, it fell not. It didn't fold. The house didn't fold. That man didn't fold. For it was founded upon a rock. It was found. What's that rock? Yahushua, that faith. That faith in him. But verse 26, and everyone that heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them not shall be likened unto a foolish man who built his house upon sand. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat upon that house, and it fell, it folded, and great was the fall of it. That's why we have to build our foundation upon that rock, upon that faith. And that comes through reading the scriptures and encapsulating them and walking in the spirit. So when the winds blow, when the troubled times come, when you have issues with your family, money, and all other tribulations that come near you, if you build your house upon that rock and upon that faith, you're not gonna fold. Because it says, and the key part of both of those examples, it says, therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine, heareth the sayings of mine. What is Yahweh, the word made flesh? The Bible. You hear these sayings, because we always hear about having faith. We always hear about people believing in God. If you want to say they believe in God, you hear these sayings, but you gotta do them. You gotta show you have faith in God. Because that's how your faith is. Matter of fact, James 2. That's how your faith is perfected. Right? Let me see. That words. Scripture words very perfect. Yeah. James chapter 2, verse 18. Yea, a man may say, thou hast faith, and I have works. Show me thy faith without. Oh, it's like it. I read that wrong. Yea, a man may say, thou hast faith, and I have works. Show me thy faith without thy works, and I'll show thee my faith by my works. You can see somebody's faith in the Lord by the way they operate through their tribulation from point A to point B, from start to finish. It's like people say they ain't the truth, say they know they ain't Israelite, say they keep the law, say they have faith in the Lord, but they fold on any type of tribulation. Any type of tribulation, whether it be in your relationship, whether it be in your family, whether it be monetarily, whether it be on your job. You don't got faith because you fold on every type of tribulation. But if you actually believe in the Lord, you're going to cleave unto him all the way through to the end. And your faith will be made perfect. Verse 22, seest thou how faith wrought with his works, and by works was faith made perfect. You can see somebody who has faith in the Lord by the way they operate. You can see how somebody has faith in the Lord by the way that they deal with certain situations. It's evident. It's evident, man. But that's how we deal with situations in the truth. That's how we operate in the spirit through our tribulations, encapsulating the word and bringing it into us and applying it through our tribulations from point A to point B. And you can't do that without faith. And Hebrews 11, without faith, it's impossible to please the Lord. So you can keep the commandments you can keep all the commandments you want, but if you ain't got faith, you ain't pleasing the Lord. And he's gonna leave you in your messed up situation, and you ain't got nobody to blame but your own self because you ain't having faith in the Lord. And that comes by applying the scriptures. That's how you get through it when you're going through it. And I'll say this, a lot of niggas don't do that. As soon as trouble comes, you forget the scriptures. As soon as trouble comes, you don't know what to do. But if you hold fast to that which is good, which is the scriptures, that's how you get through it when you're going through it, man. And that's it. That's the lesson. That's the breakdown. And with that, I pray everybody was edified. I pray you pull something from this lesson. And with that, I'm gonna say, call Allah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, and say Shalom.